Hello friends, V6 with a working volume of 3.5 liters, atmospheric with the power of 294 horsepower, and turbocharged with a return of 345 horsepower. Both motors have a timing chain drive. It usually does not require attention up to 250,000 kilometers. After 150 to 200,000 kilometers, the supports of the power unit may become unusable. Some owners, with the advent of frost, notice increased idle speed after warming up. After restarting the engine, the RPMs were back to normal. The engine is paired with a 6-speed automatic transmission. Some owners complained about the appearance of tangible shocks during a sharp change in the acceleration sign at the braking acceleration stage. But in general, the box is reliable and unpretentious. Of course, subject to regular updating of the transmission fluid. The intelligent all-wheel drive control system, terrain management, sometimes bugs. An error pops up in the system, modes do not switch. Sometimes errors appear even after slipping, more often in cold weather. As a rule, after the ignition is turned off for a few seconds, the system's performance is restored. The owners have noticed that the system works without failures if you do not rush to start and allow the system to pass a self-test after turning on the ignition. Occasionally, cases of leakage of oil seals in the transfer case, rear gearbox, and automatic slip through. Sometimes you have to repair or change the transfer case. The disease can occur after 100 to 150,000 kilometers. Timely oil changes will help extend the life of the transfer case. Factory oil usually thickens quickly, losing its properties. Until 2015, the transfer case did not have a drain hole. At the same time, the factory oil in the rear axle should also be updated. There, too, the oil thickens, and there is no drain plug. Calls to services due to the appearance of a knock in the front suspension began to appear after 20 to 30,000 kilometers. Diagnostics revealed wear on the front anti-roll bar struts or front shock absorbers. The support bearings of the front shock absorbers had to be changed after 100 to 150,000 kilometers. The Explorer from 2011 to 2017 came under a recall campaign due to defective rear axle camber arms. They could collapse, leading to a loss of control over the car and a subsequent accident. Moreover, such cases actually occurred. After 100 to 150,000 kilometers, wheel bearings also ended. The outboard bearing of the right front axle shaft may also make noise. The steering uses an electric power steering. Some owners are faced with a warning, steering malfunction, or with a complete failure of the EUR. After turning off the ignition and rebooting the system, the error goes away. This issue has been raised in the US as well. There have been recorded cases of de-energizing the system or an unreasonable increase in effort on the steering wheel. It is necessary to repair the steering rack after 80 to 120,000 kilometers. Basically, worn-out fenders are subject to replacement. In this case, there are clicks or knocking in the extreme position of the steering wheel. After 5 to 7 years, swelling of the paint is found on the edge of the hood and on the inside of the lower part of the doors. It is worth noting that the hood of the Explorer 5 is made of aluminum. After re-gluing the windshield at speed, it sometimes breaks moldings, linings, from the A-pillars. This usually happens due to broken fasteners, clips, as a result of improper dismantling and installation. If the molding remains intact, then it can be put on a sealant. Quite often, condensation appears in the turn signal repeaters built into the exterior mirrors. There are cases of water leaking into the passenger compartment in cars equipped with a panoramic roof. The reason is the clogging of the drain holes designed to drain water, drainages. Water is also found in the trunk due to poor sealing of the welds in the rear of the roof. Many Explorer owners over time note the appearance of squeaks and rattles in the cabin. Problem areas: front panel, glove box lid, trim with speakers in the trunk, B-pillars with seat belts, belt buckle, and second row seats. In addition, after 80 to 120,000 kilometers, the seam of the leather upholstery on the door armrest of the driver's door diverges. The defect is typical for pre-styling Explorers until 2015. Fortunately, the seam can be neatly stitched on its own. Sometimes it loses its tightness, and the rear view camera fails. For 5 to 7 years, the pipes of the rear circuit of the air conditioning system sometimes rot. There are many complaints about the smell of burning and exhaust in the cabin. The problem is not far-fetched, but there is no single solution for everyone. Presumably, an unpleasant smell pulls into the cabin from under the hood, through the gap between the seal, and further into the air intake. Another version is that this is due to the operation of the ventilation valves at the bottom of the trunk. There are similar complaints in the US. There, Ford explained that the problem could be caused by insufficient sealing of the cooling system and its components in cars built before September of 2012. If you know of other model malfunctions, be sure to write about it.